Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Punatu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We have been studying the topic self-analysis through the three gunas. We have studied how tamas, rajas, and sattva play in different aspects of our life. Last time we were doing karma. So, what is a sattvic karma? Sattvic karma. Okay, tell me somebody, what is sattvic karma?
Action based on obligatory duty and responsibility.
That's right.
And there is no attachment to the action itself.
That's right.
And does what he ought to be doing.
Ought to be done and obligatory duty is the same thing.
Okay. So it flows freely and effortlessly. And there is no expectation for the outcome.
Very good. So what are the qualities of sattvic action? I hope you have taken cognizance of what we believe to be called sattvic action and what Vedanta or what Krishna says is sattvic action. If we had not read this and I'd asked this question, what is a sattvic action? What would everybody have said? Would they have said things like going to the temple, church, or mosque? Would they have said things like doing some dana, some social work? Would they have said things like that? Most likely, right? You say, oh, that's a sattvic action. But sattvic action is not known by the action. You could be doing dana and still not be doing sattvic action. You could be going to the temple, church, mosque, and still not be doing sattvic action. You could be going to a gambling den and be doing sattvic action. Please listen carefully. Don't listen half. Otherwise, you will go around saying that going to the gambling den is sattvic action. That's not what it is. Did you do that action which is the most appropriate for that situation without considering what you personally wanted or whether you like the action, you would like to perform that action or not? You didn't even consider this. You simply did what was the right thing to be done. That's a sattvic action. A person who can function thus will not find any stress in action. A good point to underline. A person who functions thus does not find any stress in action. Good point to repeat. A person who functions thus does not find any stress in action. So let's just consider how much stress we are finding in our action, and we will know how much absence of sattvic action we have. These thoughts are rather sobering, aren't they? Take a minute to pause and think, hey Bhagwan, मैंने सोचा मैं कितना अच्छा काम कर रही हूँ. But actually, if I have got any stress with my action, it has lost the appellation of sattvic action. And by action means anything. I may have stress in my business. That shows me sattvic action is missing. I may have stress in my marriage. That shows sattvic action is missing. I may have stress in, I don't know, any field. But wherever it is, sattvic action is missing. So don't just memorize it as 3 things. Please understand implications of all these things. So let's see the other type of action, which the Rajasic kind of people perform. What's happening there? They're doing an action because they like it. Stop for a moment and think, why have you come to this class? Have you come here because you like it? I love my Vedanta class. I'm not suggesting you shouldn't like it, but have you come here because you like it? It's a big difference. Have you come here with some vision, with some higher purpose, with some grander scheme? Or is it just something that you like to do, and when it's convenient, you will do it? Very, very important to ask ourselves. We feel we are doing good by doing all this. Think carefully. Are we doing it because we like it? Or are we doing it because we expect some gain from it? Hey, I may not like it, but I'm still doing it because I know if I do this, X will happen, or Y will happen, or Z will happen. I'll go to Vedanta class, and who knows, maybe I'll meet a nice person and then we'll get married. Could be anything, right? Or in Vedanta class, all nice people come. My daughter's still to get married. Maybe I'll find a good boy here. Or you'll be like, oh, in Vedanta class, who will go? Only people who are generally well-to-do go to Vedanta class, and also making good contacts. Okay, so this is one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is, I'll go to class and then I will become very productive, and then I will become very happy, and everybody will love me. This is another way of doing it. But everything works around a profit motive. So how does the Rajasic function? They do it because they like it. They do it because they hope to get something out of it. Now consider people going to a temple. Huge, long line outside Siddhivinayak temple. It starts early in the day. But why are people going there? Why such a long line? Outside maybe a dargah, outside Mount Mary. Huge crowds. And I don't know. I don't know how many people are from Mumbai. If you're not from Mumbai, you won't know what I'm talking about. Tinky, you know about Mount Mary?
Yes, yes. A friend of mine, when we were working with Air India, she used to go there very often.
Yes. So why do people go to Mount Mary? Mount Mary is like huge in Mumbai. Siddhivinayak is huge here. Like so many people are making their way there. And there's so many dargahs all over the country, all over the world. Why are people going there? Because A, they like it, and B, they want something from it. Second, I think there's something here. Milan. Obligatory duties depend on which thing? Who's going to answer Milan's question? Obligatory duties depend on which thing?
Your goal.
Very good. Depends on your goal. Very good, Asha. Depends on your goal, your higher vision, your comprehension of a bigger picture. So even when you do karma over here, what is the bigger picture you're seeing? Otherwise, whenever it's convenient, you do it. When it's not convenient, don't do it. Very dedicated to some higher ideal, some higher goal. It's very different. Yesterday, interesting conversation with somebody where this point was saying that she's quite dedicated as in her profession and all that. So people just pile more work onto her. And she says, well, her stance is that, well, I have done all this, I have been unselfish, but all that happens if the more work I do, the more work people pile on me. Which is true, isn't it? The more efficient you are, the more work they'll give you to do. And what does that mean? That means others are not doing their. What happened? Why did you mute me?
I'm not sure what happened, but the sound wasn't clear before.
Oh.
Now this is clear.
So that's the difference between being unselfish and having a vision. First and foremost, you have to learn to be unselfish. But by unselfish, I mean just simple, help people, do things, do what you're supposed to do, simple stuff. But that has to make us grow into having a vision. Because just unselfish means just helping people, just I don't know, doing some good work, some social service. That is not the full concept of unselfishness. The full concept of unselfishness is that you are dedicated, that you have personally dedicated yourself to something higher in life. These are not random acts of goodness, but a personal dedication to something higher. So when you have that kind of goal, that kind of vision, then you are really doing your obligatory duties. Otherwise, you don't have a goal, then where's the question of obligatory duties? Nowadays, how do people fix their obligatory duties? I'm married, so I have to do this. I'm working, so I have to do that. These are external yardsticks. Your obligatory duty is your worship of the Lord. How can it be an external yardstick? Rajasic people have got attachment to the action. They like doing that action. or they like getting something from their action. And all of this they do with a tremendous sense of doership. How do you know your doership? Give me a good yardstick to know how much doership is there in the action.
By the amount of agitation.
Yes, but agitation can be caused by a host of things. Anything else?
Always saying I did it, the sense of I-ness is very strong.
Yes. So what's the yardstick to know that it is very strong? Most of us don't think that we have very strong egos. We all think we're very humble. What's the yardstick?
Agitation
The
will be there.
expectation that you have in terms of recognition or the outcome that you're expecting.
Who's saying that?
Yeah, hi, this is Namrata. I've just joined
Oh, okay.
recently.
Yes, that is true. Expectation is does it, you just joined means you joined today first time?
No, second class.
Okay. Expectation will come under fruit, right?
Right.
So what is that yardstick by which you know that you have tremendous ego in this action? Which is the easiest one? That we have ego is obvious. We all have it. And all of us have too much of it. That is also known. But this is theoretical knowledge. What yardstick can draw it home to you?
How offended you get when you're not recognized?
Very good. Who said that? Who said that?
This is me, Naeem Jankiji.
Who?
Naeem.
Naeem. Correct, Naeem. That is very true. Suppose you give an answer in class and you hear, what a stupid answer. And you get very upset about it. Or you give an answer and somebody says, oh, that's a great answer. And you get delighted by it. Understand how much you felt that sense of doership. The best yardstick is if someone criticizes your action, how much reaction do you have? Suppose someone says, ye kya dal banai hai? And then you pick up the dal and you put it on that person's head. You know how much ego there is in that action. How dare you talk to me like that? So this is one way of knowing how much ego is there. How much reaction do I have to criticism, to praise also? I don't know if you've met people with very little ego. You should praise them and see how they react. They just give a small smile and something. They almost don't react. They give a small smile, and then they go away. I mean, it's not that they're pretending or anything. It's just that hasn't. It's okay with them whether you say it or you don't say it. It's not making any difference in their lives. It's beautiful to see that reaction in people. I mean, that reaction means no reaction when they're praised or criticized. We just give fortunately, being in Vedanta, one of the great perks of it is always that you meet people with very fine qualities. And it's a delight to be with people who really have not reacted very much because you have said. I don't mean don't say thank you and be rude to people, but internal of you. If somebody praises you, please do say thank you and look pleased, because people like to please people, right? So don't try to make them feel bad, but really no reaction. Great yardstick to know how much ego there is. Notice what you do. If you see a group photo, if any one of us see a group photo, now we'll have a retreat. Do you know about the retreat yet? No, no? We're planning to have a retreat so that we can all meet somewhere and have like 2-3 days.
When is the Janaki ji? I'm planning next month India, so that if it's feasible, then I can attend.
Oh, great. I don't know, because we have multiple options of places, and each place has its own dates. So we haven't actually figured this out, because we don't know also where people are from. Does anybody want to do this in India? Is another place more convenient? What would be the kind of budget that everybody would be sort of happy to go for? It's all complicated, because now everybody's all over the place. We don't know how to get to some reasonably acceptable grounds to everybody. One place is Bilamora in Gujarat. Somebody has offered us a place, which is a good idea. The other one is a Taj Safari. It's also a good idea, but it was turning out to be a bit expensive. So do we have dates? No. Do we have a location? No. We just have, as we always do, just a thought. And then somehow that one thought, by some miracle of nature, just takes place. You have any suggestions of how to go about this, given the huge differences in everybody? Then you please tell us. How do we do that? How do we should actually start with a budget. What kind of budget are we looking for 3 days? So can everybody give us a budget? How are they supposed to give us? Bharat, have you worked this out? How is people to give us some kind of reasonable budget or something? Anyway, you people get on Bharat's case. Let him figure out how all these things are done. But yes, September, October would probably be a good time for us to do something. So where were we?
Group photo.
Rajasic action.
Group photo.
Very good. Who said that?
Bharat and Omkar.
Oh, Bharat and Omkar. Very good. Bharat, Omkar, you all have done excellent today. You did not get involved. Fantastic. Don't get involved, okay? Your speaker can go anywhere in the world and speak whatever they want. You stay on topic. Don't get involved in what they're saying. Very good. Excellent. I didn't actually think anyone was going to tell me. Correct. Group photo. When you look at a group photo, such as what we will take when we go on a retreat, what will you be looking for in that group photo? What do you instinctively look at?
Yourself.
How am I looking?
So think about it. Why is that one person most important in that photograph? What is it showing about us? The only exception to this rule is in a short period of time where one other person takes precedence over you. When you have fallen in love, then you will look for that one person. But for the rest of our lives, I'm looking just, where am I? Am I there? How am I looking? Are my clothes looking nice? Am I not looking bald in this? So we see how much of our life, it's all about me. Even when we say, I beg to differ, I don't agree with you. It's all about me. And this puts tremendous strain on us. And as a consequence of that, we are very agitated. And as a consequence of that, it's so sad, but the consequence of this kind of behavior is that that fruit which you have so longed for, you are pushing away from yourself. Whatever you have wanted, you will be pushing it away from yourself. It's the saddest, most tragic thing, because innocently, ignorantly, stop ourselves from getting what we want. It's quite pathetic that the Sattvic person is not craving really to get something, and he gets it. And the Rajasic person with so much wanting, so much craving, doesn't think about life. Isn't that what happens? What you're longing for, you're not getting. Please, please understand this. Vedanta is not a way to take all your pleasures away. Vedanta is the way to give you your pleasures back. Your mind keeps you from the pleasures, and Vedanta is saying, le lo bhaiya, le lo, sab le lo. And we are saying, no, 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 pata nahi baba, hamare sab pleasures chale jayenge. So the more we long, the more we crave, the more we believe in our own importance, the less we get what we want. Why does this happen? What is the mechanism? Not blind belief, okay? What is the mechanism? Why is it that the more we think of ourselves, the more we crave for something, the less the chances of getting it?
We lose our focus.
No, you're completely focused on that. This is really sad. Now I can't see who is telling me. This is not good on these tablets. A computer was...
Whatever you're attached, you lose.
Yes, but what's the mechanism?
Focus is on the fruit, so we don't focus on the best action, the highest action.
Okay, that's partially true. Good.
Our energy gets wasted.
What?
Dissipation.
Our energy gets wasted in
I
thinking.
can't hear whoever is speaking.
What Arun was saying.
Who was saying?
Even my answer was same. Even Arun Segar was saying the same. Loss of energy.
Yes, very good. Loss of energy. Okay, explain. How did loss of energy take place?
Because we will be thinking of the same thing again and again. So because of that, we will be losing the energy.
That is true. But what is happening? Give the mechanism.
It causes strain and stress. That is why we lose energy.
Yes, explain further. Whom said that?
Kinnari.
Kinnari. Yes, correct, Kinnari. Explain further. Who will explain further? Why is it that when we think, the more we think of ourselves, the more we crave to get something, the less we can get it? Is because
of the strain, then our mind is agitated and we are not able to do the right action.
Why are we not able to do the right action?
Because we are longing for the fruit rather than doing the action.
Yeah, so why can't you do the action? You're longing for the fruit, so why can't you do the action?
The mind is not calmer.
Okay, so why can't you do the action?
Focus is diverted.
Okay.
Because the mind is taken over, we can't, the intellect is not available to.
Very good, excellent. What is this? I can see some things here. Dissipation of energy is focused on. You are agitated, the intellect is not available. Excellent, Karan. Very good, Tinky. Very good, Karan.
Thank you.
When the mind is agitated, intellect cannot function. Why is it that when you go to an interview, you can't answer the question? Why is it that we make a mistake during negotiation? Why do we do these things? Mind is agitated, intellect cannot function. So the more you long, the more you crave, the more you want, the more important you think yourself is, the more agitated the mind is getting. As the mind gets more and more agitated, the intellect's functioning falls and falls. And when your intellect doesn't function, your body cannot act. How can it act? The intellect is not functional. Rajasic action ensures that your fruit is delayed. You know the tragedy that all the people who function, all of us, we're functioning in a Rajasic manner, and we are delaying our own fruit. And Vedanta is saying, "Arey Baba, sun to lo, aise karoge to jaldi mil jayega. Sun to lo." And we say, "No, no, 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 no. I will go to the temple and pray." Forget going to the temple and praying. Just do your work properly. Okay, so Sattvic and Rajasic is clear. Now let us do Tamasic.
Jankiji, I have a question on Sattvic action.
Oh, please ask. Please also identify yourself.
This is Naeem here.
Okay, sorry, Naeem. I don't know why I am not recognizing any voices here. Yeah,
So
go
it is-
ahead.
Sattvic action has very little stress in it while doing it, right? And
Sorry, say that again. What has stress?
Sattvic action has no stress in it while doing it. There's no stress.
That's right.
And I'm trying to connect that to something else I read on in Vedanta itself, that Sattvic happiness begins as poison, ends as nectar. So it seems like there is some stress. That's what it seems like.
Good question, Naeem. I'm going to ask you to answer it yourself. What do you think? Think this question through. It's a good thing. I'm so glad you're asking questions like this. But you have sufficient information to answer this question. So please answer it. And if you examine your question itself, you will get the answer.
Okay, I'm not able to think this through.
Okay, can anyone help Naeem?
The discomfort that we feel at the time of performing the action, that probably is an indicator that this is a sattvic action.
I'm not sure how you answer. Who was this?
Karan, ma'am.
Karan. No, Karan, his point, I think, is that we are claiming over here that sattvic action doesn't give you stress. In happiness, we said, when you do a sattvic action, it will begin as unhappiness, meaning stress. So how can you have it both ways? Make up your mind. Is sattvic action stress or not stress? That's his question, I think. Isn't it, Naeem?
That's right, Jankiji.
So good question.
Can I try, Jankiji?
Yeah, please do.
When you're doing sattvic action, you have a higher goal. So the difficulties in the beginning don't seem like a strain to you because you have a vision and you know that it's going to take you to your goal.
You have to ask Naeem whether he accepts your answer.
I'm still not clear on why it begins as poison, begins as unhappiness.
So if we are supposed to wake up at 3 in the morning, it seems very difficult in the beginning, right?
Jyoti, 4, not 3.
Oh, 4. Okay, 4. So if we have to wake up at 4, then it seems difficult in the beginning. So it feels like poison because we have to make that effort. But if we know in the back of our mind that this is for my higher good, this is going to take me to my goal, then that effort will be a joyful effort. It won't be a pain because we'll do it with the right attitude.
I'm not sure about this, Jyoti. Naeem is not arguing this out with you, but pain is pain, right? I mean, like, ideal or no,
Still feels like getting up at 4 would cause some strain in the beginning also. If later it turns into happiness, even then it begins with strain getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning if you're not used to it.
Naeem, I wish you were listening to what you're saying, because if you were listening to what you're saying, you would know the answer to the question. You are even emphasizing the answer. So listen. You have the answer. You're very close to the answer. Think it through, everybody. If you are hearing 9, when you're saying it yourself, sometimes you don't get it, but you're all hearing him, so you should be able to tell what's happening here.
Can we say that how important the goal is for us will determine, that the Shraddha and commitment and the determination to do the action. So the goal is set, we want to reach it, and here we are talking about the higher goal. So then, even though it seems difficult, we don't mind the difficulty. It seems like poison. We don't mind it because it is going to, take us towards our goal. It's like taking a bitter medicine because I need to get well, something like that. I don't know if that works or not.
9 will have to tell you whether that's an acceptable answer.
No, I still feel that there will be some strain when you do that.
Yes, Manoj, at the start, intellect is not powerful. So what are you saying? How are we claiming stress-free and stress together? So Manoj, you're agreeing with 9, saying that yes, mind feels strain. Correct. He's also saying mind feels strain. In that second, happiness, we say you will be strained. In karma, we say you won't be strained. Are they? How can you have a philosophy that changes its mind?
Janki ji, can I try?
Yes, please do. But only please identify yourself, everybody. Whoever talks, can everybody who puts on their, who wants to say something, put on your video. At least you'll just come on my screen.
Janki ji, it is like doing the exercise, going to the gym in the beginning. So in the beginning, it will, there will be pain, and there is going to be pain in the first few days. Then once we get the benefit of the going to the gym and all that, then that strain goes away. What is so-called strain goes away, and we would definitely not avoid going to the gym or doing exercise if in the later course. In the beginning, yes. And we very well understand that it is somewhat painful in the beginning.
Naeem?
It's still contradictory. So there is strain, and there is unhappiness when it starts. At the same time, it's supposed to be a sattvic karma, so it should be less stress. There should be no strain also.
So
people are hearing so close to the answer. I don't know how y'all are not getting it. Sahu, Menin, you want to say something?
Yeah, I thought I'll try. Sattvic action is an action where you should not look at the fruits, and happiness is the final fruit that comes. So long as you're concentrating on the sattvic action, it should not be much of a problem.
Naeem?
Janki ji, can we eradicate pain completely, or unhappiness, or discomfort? It's a part of life, right? So I think it's being comfortable with the discomfort.
Who said that?
Priya, I'm new.
Oh. I just realized there were so new people. New meaning first time or new meaning?
Second time. I'm just following, so I'm not showing.
Yes, it is true that life will always have some discomfort, but Naeem's question is, he is specific. He says, reference sattvic happiness.
Janki ji, your voice is not clear.
Oh, okay. Now is it okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Now okay.
All right. So Naeem's question is, and rightly so, I would think, in sattvic happiness, you said, there's strain in the beginning. In karma, Sattvic karma, you're saying Sattvic action has no strain. So he is telling us, please make up your mind. Is there strain or is there no strain? Whichever one you pick up, you're proving the other one wrong. So what kind of philosophy do you have that doesn't even hold its own ground? Correct, right? Why? So who, Almano, do you want to say something?
Even in Sattvic action, madam, I think there is no strain. Otherwise, it is not a Sattvic action.
That is true, but in happiness, Naim will argue. Poor fellow, he's not arguing, but he'll argue and say, okay, here you're saying this, there you said that. Ye kya chal raha hai? Ye philosophy hai ya kya hai? How can you keep contradicting yourself?
Janki.
Wait, Nanita?
We find happiness in the stream because we're pursuing our goal.
I couldn't hear you.
We find happiness in the stream because we are pursuing our goal.
Naim, are you accepting this answer?
No, I still feel that at the beginning, when it starts with strain.
Ma'am, could I try?
Jankiji, I
Srinivasan.
am losing track, Srinivasan. Okay, please try.
Bhagavan has said very clearly that all actions are fraught with there is like a fire, a smoke in a fire. The objective is that the less the smoke, the better it is. So like whatever actions we do, the indicator is that if it is higher goal, then the agitation and stress will be very less. So all actions have an amount of difficulty.
Okay, Naim, you have to accept or reject answers. Okay, I don't have to accept or reject on your behalf.
Jankidi, can I try?
Wait, now who is this? Switch on your video so I know who it is.
Yeah, Sangeeta here.
Sangeeta, where are you, Sangeeta? Why can't I see you? Ah, yes, Sangeeta. Yes, go ahead, Sangeeta. I'm seeing you after a long time. You're not saying anything.
Okay, anyway, from Naim's question, I say Sattvic action is, it starts with strain because you're not used to Sattvic, you're not used to that action.
Okay. But he's not asking why does it start with strain. He is saying, is it strain or is it not strain? On one hand, you're saying it is strain. One hand, you're saying it's not strain. Don't confuse me. He's talking exactly like Arjuna. Arjuna said in the 3rd chapter, Vyamishreneva vakyena buddhim mohayasiva me. With your perplexing speech, you are confusing me. Make up your mind. Tadekam vadanish.
Jankiji,
tell me one word. Strain, not strain. Yeah, Omkar, go ahead.
I think the operative word here is in the beginning.
Fantastic. Okay. Okay. Now explain yourself.
So in Sattvic action, there is pain, but the pain is not lasting. It is just in the beginning.
Naim, what are you saying about that?
I think I'm a little close to the answer because it seems like it's not Sattvic enough, the action. When it is when it's reached a certain amount, when it is reached a certain amount of sattva, then it becomes without strain.
Nope, Naim, your answer is wrong.
Jankidi,
Very convenient for me to accept it.
Jankidi.
But that's not the reason. Even if you give a wrong answer, it's unacceptable. Okay, so what is this?
Jankiji, Milind.
Who is this now?
Milind.
Milind. Go ahead, Milind.
It is like taking a bitter medicine. Initially, when you are taking, it will be, you will feel, I shouldn't take, but it is long way, it is beneficial. So relatively, initially, Sattvic action is stress-free, but in you can say like that. Relatively, both are true. This way or this way.
Okay, y'all are defending the subject. I don't want anyone to defend the subject. You will attack it, not defend it. Respectfully attack it, of course, but attack it. Don't defend it. The moment you start defending your philosophy, it won't work. You won't get the idea at all. So Usha, what are you saying?
I'm just saying all the gunas have got some proportion of stress. And in the case of Sattvic, I think it's far less than the other two gunas. And so you're able to manage whatever you're supposed to do, because that's how it is. You know the right direction, how to go about it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, y'all have all got some percentage of the answer, but y'all are not hitting the nail on the head. Pinky, are you raising your hand?
Yes, Janki. I was just saying, stress is caused by our perception of the action or situation. So two people see the same situation and they perceive it differently. So that means the stress is in our mind, in our perception. It's not in the action. The same situation I find pleasurable, you may find really exceedingly good, and somebody will say, what a pain. The action is the same. It is our perception. It is our mind which decides whether it's stressful or not.
Okay. What is okay? I don't know whether y'all are. What? Somebody said something.
Yeah. So isn't this different?
1 second, Bharat. Bharat, no, 1 second. Purvi says, beginning you use your mind, when you use your intellect, and there's strain, and when you use your intellect, there's no strain. And you can't say that, Purvi, because if you're using your mind, then how did it become a sattvic action? So you can't say that. Okay, Bharat, go ahead. Last answer, okay, because we never go any forward one day. 9, you threw the whole class out. Come on, Bharat, you're the last one. Now
I think sattvic action here is. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
So I think sattvic action here is defined as the one who has gone through the pain of discipline. So after that, the action
so
flows
mean,
freely.
Bharat, a poor person struggling so hard, going through pain, you're saying not sattvic action. That's not fair. Itna sara kar rahe aur unko sab zero kar diya. No, not correct. Okay, so 9.
Emotional detachment.
Sorry?
We have emotional detachment towards the goal. Therefore, there won't be that much pain.
No, you are it is your attachment to the goal that relieves you from the pain, but you do have to go through the pain. If you're not attached to your goal, you won't do it only.
What about to the action?
Yeah, that's where you're forcing yourself, right? In the beginning, you're basically doing hatha yoga. You're forcing yourself to do something you really don't want to do. And that's painful. So, but you are doing a sattvic action because you don't want to do it. Your intellect is forcing you to do something you don't, forcing the mind to do something it doesn't want to do. The mind is saying, I don't want to do it. The intellect is saying, you have to do it. And it's a big strain on the personality. And 9, I hope he has tried it and found that this is true. And he's saying, so much I struggled and worked and I'm under so much pain trying to do your sattvic action. And now you have the cheek to tell me there's only pleasure in it. I'm only seeing displeasure in it.
Janki ji, is he referring to the flow state?
Where?
Is Naeem referring to the flow state? As in, if I am playing,
are you referring to the flow state?
No, Janki, just normal action.
Naeem, I think
can I explain the flow state?
I think everybody knows the flow state where it seems effortless to you, right?
As in, if Naeem is going to play tennis, he's not going to play tennis with Roger Federer. He's going to play tennis with someone who can challenge him correctly, according to his capacity. And then, once he gets better at that, then he will move to the next level and to the next level. Is he referring to that?
No, Priya, I'm not referring to
Okay.
I think in Sattvic action, like I said, the operative word is in the beginning. So whatever pain you are experiencing, it is one which keeps reducing. So it's just something that is temporary in the beginning.
It appears as stressed, but actually the result will be afterwards, it will reduce very much.
See, no matter how many facts you people give, it's no point just to talk directly to the question. You're like giving many facts by which you will reach the answer, but you're not reaching the answer.
Ma'am, is it because the Sattvic actor is still on the journey of pursuit of Sattvic happiness, which is, let's say, the end state of realization of self? So since
Who
he's
said
not,
that? You are defending the subject. Don't decide don't decide it is right and then find a reason. Find the reason to find out whether it is right.
Okay.
Okay, Naeem.
Janki-ji, can you please clear the confusion?
Okay. Well, here is an answer. You will have to decide whether that answer is acceptable to you. As everybody has been saying, and as you have repeatedly said, Sattvic action in the beginning will give you displeasure. It will give you strain. It will give you stress because you are making yourself do something you don't want to do. So how can that possibly be pleasurable to you? If you're a smoker and you try to stop smoking, how on earth is that going to become pleasurable to you? If you're a sedentary person and you start going for a walk, how is that going to be pleasurable? That's going to be you forcing yourself and being most unhappy with it. Right? Now think about this. You all accept this. Now, based on this, Sattvic action is happiness, he says. Just think about it like there is a pond of water. In that pond of water, there is one drop of limbu. In a pond of water, there is one drop of limbu. Will you say that this is limbu pani? The beginning, the first speed bump is that pain. Subsequently, there is everlasting, ever-enlarging ripples of joy. So what is the proportion of the dissatisfaction to the satisfaction? It is so negligent that you can easily make the statement, Sattvic action is joy.
I think Janki-ji Omkar was saying the same. No, it was only temporary initially.
Yeah, they all said it, but you'd answer the question. Everybody put the facts, but answer the question. Don't tell us what you know. Answer the question. Question is, how can you call it Sattvic action? How can you say there is no strain when there is strain? So you can call it no strain when there is strain because the strain level is so low compared to the total that nobody in their right brains will call it strain. Like one drop of nimbu in a pond of water, you will not call that limbu pani. You will call that pani. Is that clear or not?
No, Janki, I beg to differ.
Now clear, man.
Okay. Go ahead, Omkar.
So here you talked about the proportion, whereas I believe I think it is not really the issue of proportion, but the issue of timing. Because, for example, if I were to start exercising, initially the pain would be much greater than the pleasure out of it. But as the time goes by, the proportion of pleasure keeps increasing and the pain keeps decreasing. So,
correct.
So it's a question of just the timing. The beginning, in the beginning, the proportion seems much greater, But as time goes by, the proportion keeps decreasing.
Correct. So end result, what will be? There was 1 drop of water and 1 drop of limbo. The water became full pond and limbo stayed 1 1. You're saying the same thing. Initially, there's 1 drop of water and 1 drop of limbo. The water increased and increased and increased and became a pond. But that drop of limbo stayed the same. So it is time, it is beginning, it is that the pain goes away. All of this is true, but answer the question. The pain and whatever all you all said. Yeah.
Janki, isn't it a paradox that if what you say is Sattvic action, so many could have taken, but the proportion of people who do Sattvic action is very low, whereas the Rajasic and Tamasic are the maximum. So why is it, as you say, if people understand the benefit, they could have taken Sattvic action.
I'm sorry, I don't see the connection. You just took the word proportion and ran with it. Who said this?
Srinivasan Janki.
Right. Nothing to do with how many people take and how many people don't take. It is an individual, 9, has decided to get up in the morning and study at 4 o'clock. When he got up at 4 o'clock in the morning, it was a horrible experience for him. He was sleepy. His studies were worse than what he used to do during the daytime. And he said, "Ye to pura pagalpan hai. Why are they making me get up at 4 o'clock? And anyway, they never told me to get up. I only got up and I'm going back to sleep." All this is going on. Right? Then what happens? Suppose he keeps at it. This initial pain that he experienced will gradually turn into pleasure. Now his whole life long, he will continue to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and experience tremendous pleasure. So how much was the sum total of pleasure compared to the sum total of pain? His first 5 days of pain, let us say, or first 1 week of pain, compared to his whole lifetime after that, which was not only that he was happy with the 4 o'clock study, but his whole life on the whole also, the rest of the day became happier than he's ever experienced. And it was ever enlarging ripples of joy. And then when he looks back at it, when he's 50 years old, will he say it was painful or will he say it was joyful?
Janki, I have an interesting statistic to share.
Okay, but I hope the first point about people doing this and that, different people doing, is not the point here, is clear, I hope.
No. Still, that's the point I would like to emphasize. That when people signed up for morning study and posting that they have studied yes or no, it has slowly reduced. Now it has reached a single digit. Out of 35 people who are in the group, initially it was 19. And then now, after 68 days, it has come down to single digit. So isn't it, have they not realized the benefit as you have mentioned?
No, why? They could have gotten the habit and don't need this aid anymore. We don't know what happened, why that number came down, but we can tell everybody who doesn't know about it yet that there is a group to help us get up between 4 and 6. So anyone who would like some help in that, there's a group. So please join that group. You can put it back on the main group, on all the groups, because now we have how many? Over 600 people, right? So many don't know. Maybe many people have gotten to the track, and sometimes just putting it there is irritating once you don't need that help. So we don't know what happened, but that's not the point. Naim, are you clear with this?
Yes, I just feel that statement. I agree with the explanation about the Nimbu Pani and the pond water. And so it seems like we can say that in karma, strain is negligible. Rather than saying it is absent, it sounds like its strain is negligible to the proportion of joy you will feel.
I mean, yeah, you can say whatever you want, but the idea must be clear. That now you become 50 years old. Imagine you have studied every morning and you have grown with the knowledge, and not only your morning study was pleasurable, but your whole day, your whole life became pleasurable. Then why would you even think anything of that original 5 days?
Okay, okay, Janaki.
So negligible, okay, but in
Janaki,
the
this is
Can we
Kalyan.
not say, hello? Yeah, can we not say that the very definition of sattvic action is obligatory action? And obligatory action means we do an action because it is the right thing to do, not because it gives us pain or joy or sorrow. That is the right thing to do in a given situation. We do it. That is obligatory action is equal to sattvic action. And that includes whether you feel the pain or not, sorrow or not is unimportant. Can that not explain?
But nothing to do with his question. His question is make up your mind. Is there strain or is there no strain? That is his question. You don't answer his question. Everybody please learn to focus on the questioner's question. Our tendency is to tell the questioner everything we know. Just answer the question. Rightly or wrongly is not even important, but address the question. What is Naim's trouble? Naim's trouble is you're saying this on one side and that on the other. So just resolve that contradiction, rightly or wrongly. Resolve only that. We don't want to tell him anything else. We assume he knows it all. Okay. Has anyone got a problem with this
Janaki,
answer? Yeah.
just one Kalyan here. Janaki. So
Yeah,
your
ahead.
example of 9 getting up in the morning and doing that morning study, it still fulfills only one condition out of the 2, no? That it is bitter in the beginning for him, but it is not less stressful like a sattvic action. It is still stressful also.
Why is it still stressful? In the whole business of his life, he will never call that stress except for the first 5 days. Where's the stress for him later on? Not only the study is no longer a stress for him, no aspect of his life becomes a stress for him.
Yeah, but the act
Why
of
would
getting
you
up
refer
in,
to that as stress?
but the act of getting up in the morning, which is presumably a sattvic action, because he's doing it with that without any intent. So that is stressful, no?
Only first 5 days.
Okay.
So how, when his lifespan of 100 years has gone so beautifully, will he turn around and say that that study was ever stressful? He'll have forgotten also. He won't even refer to it as stress. It looks that stress of sattvic action only appears to us looming on the horizon when we are trying to do the action. And that's what he was pleading with us. He was saying, please don't get carried away with the initial irritation. Just go through with it and then just see how it opens. It just enlarges. Not only the action itself becomes good, like if you do the exercises, not only do you enjoy the exercise, the rest of the day also you have more energy. You don't get all these lifestyle ailments. There's ever enlarging benefits out of this thing. So that was the advice to us. Don't get carried away with that initial displeasure. It's so small, you will not even know it after some time. Okay, so now you're...
Janki, one just last this thing is that most of us, like Mr. Srinivasan was saying, I mean, I'm assuming people are not waking up any morning, and it's not a question of not reporting, but most of us who start off on a good action can't keep up with it, like exercising, waking up in the morning. It's because the pain of that action is quite too much to the potential pleasure in the future. I mean, we all know that there is pleasure in the future, but the pain is so much that one cannot keep up with it, you know. And that's why a lot of people fall out of anything good that they start working on.
So your question is? You just told us something everybody knows. So what's the question?
So even if you're doing sattvic action, the pain is there.
The pain is where in doing the action?
Sorry?
What? The pain is in doing the action. I mean, you yourself know pain is where means what? Wherever you're experiencing it is the pain. You experienced it. You tried to get up in the morning. And you did it for a couple of days and then you couldn't do it anymore. So you know exactly what happened. The great thing about Vedanta is that it's about our life. So we know exactly what's happening, right? So if it would be a productive question, if you would say, how do I go through that initial period? Then it would be a productive question. But everything else is just what? It's a fact of life. Yes, you'll go through the pain. Yes, you'll want to give up. Yes, you'll think this is too much and give it up also. Only question you can ask is, how do I go through that initial period of pain? And now that you brought it up, let me say, how do we do it? You have two methods. Number one, satsang. That's why you started the group for getting up early, so that you give yourself company to do that. Remind yourself in any way of your choice. Give yourself things to see, things to hear, things to touch, things to smell, things to whatever, to keep you in the satsang of that thought. Like this group is a satsang for getting up in the morning. Second thing is, if it is such tremendous pain for you, that it's really, really horrible thing for you, then you probably are biting off more than you can chew. So bring that down. If you can't do it at 4 o'clock, please make it 5 o'clock. If you can't do it at 5 o'clock, please make it 6 o'clock. If you can't do it at 6 o'clock, please make it 7 o'clock. But if you are getting up at 12 o'clock in noon and you try to get up at 4 o'clock, it will be a horrible thing. You can't do it. So see, what is my current time of getting up? My current time of getting up is 9 o'clock. Then what I can do is 8:30, then 8. Go step by step. So you have two things. One is review what you have set as your next step. Two is give yourself satsang for that step. Okay?
Janki ji, this is DP Singh.
Yeah.
We have discussed this question put up by Naeem, I think 10-15 minutes. I personally feel that we still haven't found an answer to his specific question. On one side, we say that sattvic action does not create any stress, any hesitation. On the other side, we accept, all of us, all the people participating, that the intensity of that discomfort or hesitation may be very short-lived. But there is some kind of stress to start with. And I think if I understood Naeem's question, he found a contradiction in the two definitions of sattvic action. And that contradiction, to my mind, still stays in spite of all this discussion so far.
Okay, that's fine. What's the problem? You can think of your own answer. Whatever works for you, works for you. Everybody has given theirs. Now you decide.
No, I'm not trying to answer myself. I'm only saying that we do accept that two definitions are different. One is no stress, one is stress, but very little. It'll go away soon. So that is the contradiction which Naeem pointed out. And I haven't found the answer myself, by the way.
I mean, that's fine. The answer is done. So, I mean, whatever anyone wanted to say has said. Now it's up to you to take, reject, do whatever you want with it. We don't all have to agree. There is no necessity that you agree with what is told in class. The only necessity is you think about it and be as rational as you can be. Okay, so that's it for today.